Hey guys, we're out here in Lake Oswego with my friends Pyramid Heating and Cooling. Victor, thanks for having us out today, brother.
Thank you for coming out.
Man, maintenance is one of those things that is so big. It's like the oil change in your car, right? On your furnace, you got to stay on top of this because if not, bad things happen.
You can skip the maintenance. It's going to function just fine, but eventually it'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
Components that fail, that could have been caught, that could have kept the furnace running, expanded the life of the furnace, right? So we always recommend, it might not seem like it's much, but it's always in your best interest in the long run to have a maintenance done.
Yeah, with my old system that I used to have before you guys put in my new one, I had problems with it. It was well past its lifespan, but every time that I had a breakdown on it, if I would have called you guys for service, I got myself burned with that because it was predictable. You could see that things were going, and I was just like, I vacuumed it out, it's fine. You still got to bring the pros in to do it.
To me, the most important thing to check is your gas pressure, right? Because if it's over, it'll run to a point, and then it'll start tripping your safety switches, your limit switch, all that, because the gas pressure is just too high. And keeping it regulated at where the manufacturer wants it, it keeps that heat exchanger inside protected, right? It expands it.
Well, let's take a look and see what you're doing here, because I see there's a lot of little things that need to be done on this thing.
Yes, absolutely. I like to start first with my gas pressure. So typically gas valves on the top here, right on the information plate or on the front, will have what the water column pressure should be. Typically the max is 3.5. We like to keep it anywhere from 3.1 to 3.2 water column pressure. And woohoo! Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, looking good.
Gas pressure, again, to myself, is one of the most important portions of your maintenance. I'll take a notation of what I'm pulling on the blower motor, and then when I pull it out to check the secondary heat exchanger, just to make sure, I'll get the specs on what they're asking for in range. Usually, typically, you're somewhere between 3 and 4.8. Sometimes you're as high as 6.8 for the amp draws on there. It's the same with here. We're pulling 0.9, and the manufacturer's calling for 1.0, so we're well within range.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we clean this, we want to look for pitting. This is regular wear and tear. Sometimes when you don't have a maintenance, this soot will just
cake on,
build.
doesn't it?
It'll start turning green to the point where we won't ever be able to clean it. So you have two parts to high efficiency furnaces, right? You have the exhaust tubes for the main burners, right, which is basically what this motor does. It sucks it out, takes it out, gets it out of the home. And then you have a secondary heat exchanger, which is going to be the condensation portion of the furnace.
Yeah. That's almost like the AC, where it's grabbing all the water out of the air, all that humidity, and then it drops into that same type of drain system.
Yep.
It kind of looks like where you can see there were water issues here before. Those are some of those telltale signs where there was something that happened there before.
Absolutely. This rust sediment, right, that's coming from the coil in the AC.
Yeah.
So that's telling you, hey, we have a cooling issue. It's just not cooling the way it used to be.
Yep.
And I open up this panel, I see the rust, I'm gonna search for a leak there. This is the type of buildup that you get in there. Replace your filter, replace your filter. If it's a 4-inch, whatever, if there's gonna be sheetrock dust, sawdust, any of that, change it more frequently to help avoid that. So we have a high limit switch here, which basically if your heat cabinet overheats, fan doesn't kick on, there's a restriction, you're not getting the right temperature readings across, this switch will shut the furnace down and say, hey, we're too hot.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Once it cools down, if your motor isn't the cause of that, it's gonna run until this cools it down. I usually tell homeowners whenever they have a problem, record that little light, right? Because you'll have a sight glass here. Record it with your phone for 10 seconds. That way, if it remedies itself from the time we've been scheduled to come out to get there, we have something to go off of. Because if the furnace is running the way it's supposed to, we can't tell you anything's wrong.
No, yeah, because there's no memory to it.
Here we go. It'll start your inducer, pulls in the pressure switch. That'll tell the igniter to kick on. Once it gets hot enough, it'll tell the gas valve, open up. Flame will be present, then that flame sensor takes over at that point. This should run for whatever the setting is. Typically it's 30, 60, 90 seconds, 120 seconds after the call for heat, just to allow that to cool down. Drain ports. So you have your drain for your collector box, and then you have your drain for the condensation coming off of the exhaust flue that'll drain right out. If you're having a restriction a problem or anything, you can usually hear a gurgling sound.
There you go.
That goes through. This will kick on. You'll hear a gurgling sound. Not to say that it's just going to be a restriction issue. We've had birds. Once had a snake.
Wow.
I am personally absolutely scared of anything that's not a cat or dog. Don't let this fool you, but
Yep.
absolutely.
Cool.
But that's your basic checks to go through. We verify that the thermostat's going, communicating the way it's supposed to, temperature's going through. The biggest thing you'll always do, a good technician will ask questions to a homeowner. Ask. We only come here certain times of the year. They live with the system every day, 365 days a year. They're going to be our best source of information.
All right, Victor, so how do people find you or to schedule service?
They can find us online at pyramidheating.com. Also, the phone number for the people that don't want to do anything online, they can just call in, schedule an appointment, ask whatever questions they may be having. The office will absolutely, they're great, help them right through with anything that they need.
That is awesome, brother. Pyramidheating.com. Get that thing serviced. It'll save you money in the long run.